Hello traders. Okay, so the wait is finally over. The US election is here. So voting is winding up at the moment, and soon they'll start counting the votes. And hopefully at some stage today we will get a winner of the election. Now, whoever wins this election is obviously going to move markets, and both Trump and Harris will move markets differently. So let's just recap how the market will move and some trades that are standouts on both a Harris and a Trump win. But starting with Trump first, obviously because his policies are more extreme, and we'll probably see a bigger market move on a Trump win. Okay, so firstly, we all know that Trump's number one policy is tariffs. They are seen as obviously inflationary. One of the big themes in markets and something that we've talked about on numerous occasions is what's been happening in the bond market. So we have seen a big spike up in US bond yields over the course of the last 1.5 months. So US 2-year yields, US 10-year yields have been up a whopping 70 to 80 basis points, and both trading well above 4% in those yields. So yes, Trump's inflationary policies is going to affect yields again. So take those bond yields, no doubt, higher again. Now, the spike in US bond yields has been a big reason that we've also seen in the last 1.5 months, a big spike up in the US dollar. So the US dollar has been stronger, across the board. So Trump winning, higher bond yields, and we're going to see the trend in US dollar strength continue. A couple of standout trades though in the currency space. Look, the yen, dollar yen. The yen is most sensitive to changes in US bond yields, obviously because the Japanese policy rate is still at 0.25%. So on a Trump win, I would suggest that dollar yen probably will trade a lot higher, probably big figures higher. So you want to be long dollar yen. The other thing is, obviously with his tariff policy, the nation that he's targeting the most and it's going to have the biggest tariffs is obviously China. So dollar China, dollar CNY is another trade that looks a standout, being long off, right? So, and the Chinese obviously will also be happy to depreciate their currency to help pay for their higher tariffs. Okay, so moving along with Trump as well, one of his policies obviously is cutting corporate taxes. So that is seen as basically giving the economy a bit of a sugar rush. So basically economists are looking at that policy also as giving a short-term economic boost to the US, which is favourable to equity markets. So if Trump wins, equity markets no doubt are going to cheer that win, and you're going to see S&P and NASDAQ retrend higher again, and no doubt new record highs. So you don't want to be selling equities on a Trump win initially. And finally, obviously, Trump has been very pro Bitcoin. So no doubt if Trump wins, and it's a convincing win, the crypto market, especially Bitcoin, will rejoice, and there's a good chance we'll see Bitcoin probably trade up to those 80,000 targets, and who knows, maybe even higher. But no doubt, look, it will be a risk-on market on a Trump win, and it's largely bullish on the whole. So moving along to a Harris win, if she does win. Okay, so the first thing is that obviously she's not going to have those tariff policies that Trump has, and what we've been seeing in the bond market in the last 1.5 months, we probably will see some relief there. So we probably will see those bond yields actually trade lower. The fact that the market is looking at potentially the Fed having to actually pause its rate cuts on a Trump win. If Harris wins, no doubt, then the Fed will be able to continue its rate cuts, and the market's pricing in at least 100 basis points over the course of going into next year before they end their rate cutting cycle. So that'll be a positive for the bond market. You know, the market will buy bonds, yields lower, and as we've been saying, that this has obviously been the cause of why we're seeing the stronger US dollar. So lower bond yields. On a Harris win, we'll probably see markets selling US dollars finally. The standout there for me has probably been long, actually, the Aussie dollar. Yesterday we did have an RBA, and there's no change in rates there. RBA is still worried about inflation, so they're not cutting any time soon, whereas the rest of the world is cutting. There'll be no trade war with China on the back of a Harris victory as well, so I really think that the standout in the currency space will be long Aussie dollars. So definitely have a look at that. The other thing is, we just talked about equity markets on a Trump win. One of Harris's main policies is taxing the higher income earners and the rich. These are the guys that basically own most of the US equities. Almost up to 70% of US equities. So potentially, her policies will be a negative for equity markets, and maybe the equity markets also will be disappointed, that they're not going to get that Trump win. So, certainly you're not going to get the bang for your buck, equity-wise, that a Trump win will get, and possibly, we'll get equity markets maybe trade lower on a Harris victory. So, I wouldn't go out buying, S&P or Nasdaq or equities on that basis. And then, finally, obviously with crypto, the crypto market desperately wants Trump to win. There's going to be a lot of disappointment there. So getting out of Bitcoin and selling Bitcoin, and the way Bitcoin trades, it could be a lot lower very quickly. And finally, look, no one wants this to happen, but if it is really a close race, potentially we may not know the result today. And as we were saying before, Monday, that brings uncertainty. Markets don't like uncertainty, so I'd suggest maybe it might weigh on equity markets in the short term while we continue to wait for a result. In any case, no doubt, look, these markets are dangerous markets at the moment. They probably will trade volatile, as we are getting the results. So I think you've got to be cautious in your trading, but good luck with it, and we'll check back in with you shortly.